Jayam Vishnu Bhat Paramamsa Parivrajakat Aristotle Sat Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnu Bhat Paramamsa Parivrajakat Aristotle Sat Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhana Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki ISKCON Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Gaur Premanande. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Attachments to his
Swami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se Gaur Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhar ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So today's morning class will be given on Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.27, date May the 27th, 1976, location Honolulu. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.27 on May the 27th, 1976 in Honolulu.
Translation. When the time of death arrived for the foolish Ajamil, he began thinking exclusively of his son Narayana.
So, in the previous verse, also, it has been described, Bhojan Payana Mula. And here is also, Saivang Vartamana Agya. Agya means one who has no sufficient knowledge. Is called Agya. And Mula means as, rascal. So in both the verses, the Ajamil is described as fool, rascal, and without sufficient knowledge. Why? Because he is attached to the child and he does not know that death is coming now. Death is there. This is our position. We say that God is dead. God is not dead. God is coming very soon. Wait a few years. He will be dead. This is the position. You rascal, God is not dead. God is coming to kick you, to kill you. Yes. Krishna said, Mrityu sarva harasya aham. What is death? Just like in your previous life you had been something, death means you have forgotten everything. Suppose I was a very big king or prime minister or president, but that is all finished. Now I have got another life, another chapter of life. Tatha dihantara prapti. You have to change your body. It may be lower degree or higher degree, but you have to change your body. There are 8,400,000 species of life, forms of life. You have to accept one of them. That is our real problem. If we forget the real problem and blindly or foolishly say that God is dead, God may be dead, but God's law is not dead. Suppose a king dies, a president dies, does it mean the government dies? The government will go on. You can say God is dead. God is not dead, neither you are dead. But if you foolishly say that God is dead, that does not mean His law is also dead. The law will go on. One king may be dead, the next his son or somebody will become king. and the government law will go on. So, what is the use of talking foolishly like God is there? God may be dead, God is never dead. This is going on. This morning we are talking. So we are concerned with the laws of God. God may be dead or alive. It doesn't matter. Suppose by law we are prisoners. We are in the prison house, and all of a sudden the president or the king died. Does it mean we shall be free? No. You have to rot. That means Bengali proverb says, Raja mole rajyo atkay. And if the king dies, his government is not stopped. We should remember that. So that government is Prakriti, the material nature. And say, Prakriti kriyamanani guni karmani sarvasa. You are reading Bhagavad Gita. So, these are all foolish things. That God is dead, I don't care for God. But God is not dead. You are dead. You are dead because, you are dead actually, because this body, the bodily concept of life, this body is dead. Just like you are driving one car, but if you think that I am the car is dead. The car is moving because you are alive. Similarly, this dead body, this body is dead, already dead from the very beginning. But it is moving on account of the soul. This is knowledge. See, it is dead from the very beginning. Therefore, in the Shastra it is said that what is called? I just now forget it. Apranasya hi devasya mannanam lokaranya. Apranasya hi devasya. Deha means this body. So, either it is dead or alive, it has no life. Apranasya hi devasya. Deha is not alive, it is always dead. Simply we understand, because we are foolish rascal, we understand that this body is dead when the soul is alive. The body is always dead. So Bhagavad Bhakti Vihinasya Jati Japastapa Kriya. If one is not Krishna conscious, Bhagavad Bhakti Vihinasya, then his big nationality, Jati, his achievement, Japastapa, his activities, everything of Bhagavad Bhakti Vihinasya Jati Japastapa Kriya, all these things are like decoration of the dead body. Apranasya hi devasya mannanam lokaranya. Mannanam lokaranya. We are decorating this body with flower, ornaments, nice cloth. How long? So long the life is there. Then it is beautiful. Otherwise, no more beautiful. If you garland, suppose I become dead and you garland, it may be pleasing to somebody, but what is the value? There is no value. So this material civilization, they are decorating this body. So the bodily concept of life is condemned in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita. This knowledge was given to Arjuna by Krishna when he surrendered. When he was talking friendly, he did not say. When Krishna, Arjuna submitted, that Krishna, I am now perplexed. So how my intelligence can be revived? You know, Krishna, Arjuna knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. So his perplexed position can be solved by Krishna, that he knew. Therefore, he said, Shishasteham sadhimam prapannam. Krishna, no more friendly talks. We are wasting time. Now I become your disciple, Shishya. Shishya means disciple. You kindly advise me, I am surrendering unto you. Tadvidhi panipatina. Spiritual master means you must surrender to him. If you talk foolish, then you will not be benefited. You must submissively hear and accept what he says. So, when Krishna began to teach him as teacher, the first thing he uttered, anyone can say what he first said? Asatyananusruchastam prajnavadang subhas gatasun agatasun sa nanusruchanti pandita. My dear Arjuna, you are talking like very learned scholar, but you are so rascal that you are talking of this body. So far the body is concerned, either it is dead or alive. It is not the subject matter of any talk. Nanusruchati pandita. Those who are learned scholars, they won't talk about the body, they'll talk about the soul. That is pandita. What is it? This is dead body. Suppose this is cloth. Now if you talk about this cloth, you can talk. You can write volumes of books. This silk was purchased from that shop and it was manufactured in such and such date, and the man manufactured, he is like this, he is like. You can go on talking nonsense like that and can write books. So all these rascal philosophers, they are writing about this cloth. That's all. Jasratu buddhi kunapesiva. But this is not the subject matter for the learned scholar. Nanusruchanti pandita. What is this body? A combination of matter, it is already dead because the living soul is there, it is moving, and as soon as the living soul is out of this body, it is useless, dead of matter. So, what is there important talking about this dead body? That's the word, it is made of this earth, earthly ingredient, bhumi rapana, and it will become again. You go, either there are three, I will say, transformation of this body. One transformation is ass, another transformation is stool, another transformation is earth. There are three different types of transformation. Just like Christian people, they bury the body. So, in due course of time, you will find, say after 10 years, the body is finished, it is now earth. The body has become earth. And Hindus, they burn it, so the body becomes ash. And the Parsis, they throw the body to be eaten by the vultures. It becomes stool. This is the last, I will say, transformation of this body. And we are so much busy about this ash, stool and earth. Just see how foolish we are. Therefore, Krishna said to Arjuna, Gatasun agatasun. Just like motor car. With driver or no driver. What it is, it is dead matter, that's all. Why one should be busy about this motor car? One should be busy about the driver, whether he is paid nicely, whether he is eating nicely. We drive. If you don't take care of the driver, simply you wash the car, what is the use? The car will not be moving without driver. Similarly, the whole civilization should be on the basis of understanding the soul. That is civilization. So unfortunately, by the spell of Maya, just like this Ajamila, he is committing sinful activities. He is now rogue, thief, cheater. He doesn't care for that. But he is taking care of the body of the child. He is thinking, this child will save me when I will be in danger. There is another part in the second canto. Dehapatta kalatradishu atma sannesu asassu api pramatta tasya nidhanam pasyannapi na pasyati. Deha means his body. Apatta means children. Dehapatta. Kalatra means wife. Dehapatta kalatradishu atma sannesu. Here is struggle for existence, and we are thinking that this my strong body and my nice children and my wife, they are my soldiers, and so I am safe. Everyone is thinking that. Now I am in a good family. I have got my family members very nice. I have got very strong body. Oh, what do I care? God is there. That's all. So, this is our misconception. We are thinking that this paraphernalia, my country, my community, my countrymen, or my family, my wife, my children, and so many things, mine. So I am thinking that they will give me all protection. No. Therefore in the Bhagavad it is said, Dehapatta kalatradishu asasurapi. He knows that they will be finished. They cannot give protection to themselves. What protection they will give to me? This is knowledge. This is knowledge. Dehapatta kalatradishu atma sannesu asassu api pramatta tasya nidhanam. He knows that they will be finished. Pasyannapi na pasyati. He has practical experience. Still he does not see. This is called Maya. Maya means thing is one and he is thinking otherwise. His soldier, the so-called soldier, the protector, will be finished, but he still is depending on him. Suppose a bird is flying with his family in the sky, but if there is some danger, then no other bird can help you. You have to help yourself. That's an aeroplane. Say dozens of aeroplanes is flying. But if one aeroplane is in danger, no other plane can give him any help. It will fall down and crash, finish. So we have to take care of ourselves. We are thinking, my country, my community, they are all busy in this way. They will save me. No. When death will come, nobody will save you. Remember that. You are challenging God is dead. When God will come and make you kill him, nobody can save you. So we are so foolish, we are thinking that God is dead and I shall continue my life and my wife, my children, my countrymen, my nation will save me. That is not possible. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to maybe facilitate a discussion on Srila Prabhupada's class this morning. We can imagine Srila Prabhupada in May 1976 in, anyone remember where? Honolulu. When he said Honolulu, we're like, oh, how nice and warm. There must be a beach out there. Here we are with our hats, gloves. So Srila Prabhupada is speaking on Canto 6, Chapter 1, text number 27. And who is he speaking about? Where are we in the Bhagavatam? Which story are we on? Ajamil, yes. So he's speaking about Ajamil. The translation, when the time of death arrived for the foolish Ajamil, he began thinking exclusively of his son Narayan. So this lecture wasn't what we normally hear when we hear the story of Ajamil and he remembering Narayan. Because when we usually hear the story, we hear Ajamil said the name of Narayan, and Narayan is the holy name of Krishna, and Ajamil was saved. Yes, that is the thing we hear most. And this lecture, Prabhupada just took it on a totally different angle. And the angle Srila Prabhupada took based off the translation is Ajamil was foolish because he tried to depend on his son. He tried to depend on his family members. And Prabhupada ends the talk, we'll kind of go up and down in terms of the discussion, but Prabhupada ends the lecture with, our family cannot save us. They cannot save us. When we are immature in our spiritual life, we hear this and we kind of go home and say, I don't like you anymore, I don't need you anymore. But what Srila Prabhupada is saying is not that we go home and disown our family, but what Srila Prabhupada is really trying to emphasize is, let's prioritize our spiritual life. And if we really want to be protected from death, which is what Ajamil is facing here, then let's prioritize our connection with Krishna. And let's not try and foolishly think that anything or anyone else can save us. So at the beginning, Prabhupada mentions Agya. Does anyone remember what Agya means? Kavita? Yes, very good. One who does have sufficient knowledge. He is called Agya. And Muda. Muda means rascal, ass, rascal, Prabhupada says. So what is this? One who has no sufficient knowledge, one who is like an ass, who is a rascal. What is Prabhupada getting at? Everyone is just thinking God is dead. And Prabhupada mentions this a lot of times in the lecture, that the conversations at that time especially is that God is dead, there is no God. So then Prabhupada refutes that, saying, okay, even if God is dead, the law of God must go on. So which examples does Prabhupada give? Harsh? Very good, yeah. So if the king dies, the kingdom continues. If the president dies, the laws of the government will continue. It goes on. So we should remember that the government is actually, Prabhupada quotes a verse from the Gita, chapter 3. The government is Prakriti. Yes, do you remember the verse? Very nice, yeah. So that's chapter 3, text 27. That this government is actually the material nature. This is our government, and we can see it. We can see it. Sometimes, isn't it that sometimes we get some sort of reaction, and we can actually trace it back. If we just sit and reflect and think, some things are coming from previous lives. But sometimes we get something and it's like, yeah, I kind of did this to someone. And this is something actually we can reflect on, that when we get, when the material law, the material nature law comes to us in such a way, when the punishments come to us, if we really reflect and pray to Krishna, he can reveal to us where it actually came from. What did we do? Because sometimes we're living in the world of, I'm great. I don't do anything wrong to anyone. I'm amazing. I treat everyone with so much respect, but everyone just disrespects me. But actually, Prabhupada is making it very clear here that we should remember the government is Prakriti, the material nature. And we also know who's in charge of material nature. Krishna. And Krishna's perfect. I think we all in this room agree with that. So if Krishna's perfect, his laws must be perfect. If his laws are perfect, that means our karma is coming to us in the most perfect way. Whether we find it perfect or not, it's coming to us in the most perfect way. So Prabhupada is saying, so just like you are driving a car, and we're thinking, I'm the car is dead. But why is the car moving? Why does the car move? Come on. Because there's a driver. The car is moving because you are alive. And then Prabhupada makes it very clear. What else is always dead? The body. Thanks, Haris. The body is always dead. From the very beginning, from the start. I found that amazing. I've never thought of it like that. The body is dead from the start. And you never think like that. We kind of get into this after some. I think there's a body and there's a soul, and the soul is what moves the body. And when the soul leaves, we all understand. Okay, the soul has left the body, and now the body is dead. We kind of have that conception, and now the body is dead because the soul's left. But Prabhupada saying, the body is always dead from the very beginning. It's only moving on account of the soul. It's only moving on account of the soul. So the soul is us. That is life, and the body is dead from the very beginning. It's mind-blowing. The philosophy is mind-blowing. What Prabhupada is explaining is phenomenal. I mean, to say that, I mean, to be honest, I was just thinking when I heard that I've got two young daughters, and you'd never think, like when they're born, that their body is already dead. You never think that because you've got this little girl, my baby. But actually, the soul inside is the baby. The soul inside is the life. So, if we don't take care of the driver, Prabhupada says later, if we don't take care of the driver, simply you wash the car. What is the use? What is the use of just washing the car? The car will not move without the driver. And then Prabhupada says, the whole civilization, what should it be based on? The soul. Sorry? Understanding the soul. Yeah, thank you. So the whole civilization should be on the basis of understanding the soul. This is civilization. And then Prabhupada is also speaking about Arjuna and Krishna. Because we see in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna sees Duryodhana, he sees Bhishma, he sees all the relatives on his other side, and he starts to confide in Krishna, like a friend. This is what's happening. This is what I'm feeling. I'm going to put down my bow. But then Prabhupada says, at one point, Arjun's saying, Krishna, no more friendly talks. we're wasting time. And Prabhupada quotes a verse from the Gita where Arjuna is now beginning to surrender. Does anyone remember which verse Prabhupada quotes? 2.7, yeah, 2.7, where Arjuna says, Shishyaste hamsa adiman tvam prapanam, that I am your shishya, I am your disciple. Now you kindly advise me, I am surrendering unto you. So at this point, when we are surrendered, this is the point when we can accept knowledge. When we have that surrender, that's when knowledge is accepted. And we can see this in our life. Sometimes we have to go through the school of hard knocks, isn't it? We kind of have to wait until we're smashed a little bit, and then we feel a little surrendered, and then the knowledge, we just accept it. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagavan Ki Jai. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Bhagavan Ki Jai. Gaur Nitai Bhagavan Ki Jai. So this is the point where we can accept the knowledge, where we can surrender. And Prabhupada makes it clear, if one is not Krishna conscious, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya, then his big nationality, jati, his achievement, japas, tapa, his activities, everything, all these things are like, anyone? Decoration, thank you, Harsh. They're decorations of the dead body. So all these things that we have, Prabhupada saying we have, and we're going for it in this material world. We want a big achievement. We're doing so many different activities, but if we're not relating it to the soul, if we're not connecting our activities to the benefit of the soul, these are just like decorations of the dead body. And what is the use of decoration on the dead body? So Prabhupada then quotes another verse from the Gita in chapter 4, the famous verse in chapter 4, about surrendering to the spiritual master. Anyone know which one? We all know which one. That was the one in chapter 2. What's the one in chapter 4? Tadvidi pranipatena. Yes. So spiritual master means you must surrender to him. And Prabhupada then says, if you talk foolish, you will not be benefited. So when we're with the spiritual master, if we're talking foolishness, if we're thinking, oh, here's my spiritual master, let's have a laugh, let's crack a joke, and maybe that's okay at some point, but that's not what's going to give us the benefit. What's going to give us the benefit is when we submissively hear and accept whatever he says. Submissively hear and accept whatever he says. And then Prabhupada then points out, so what did Krishna say first as the teacher? When he began to be the teacher, what did he say first? Which verse is it in the Gita? Chapter 2, 2:11. How does it go? Sorry? Yeah. My dear Arjuna, you are talking like a very learned scholar, but you are so rascal that you are talking of this body. So he's mentioning that verse, asochan and vasocastam pragyavadam shabashashe gatasun agatasumscha nanu sochanti panditaha. You're not talking like a learned person, not like a pandita, like a learned scholar. So you're talking like a learned scholar, but you're not behaving like one. Your actions right now is that you are just interested in this body, this family, this body. So Prabhupada then says, this body is not the subject matter of any talk. It's not the subject matter of any talk. This is not the subject matter of any talk. This is not what we should be talking about. So when we're talking to our friends and family and discussing our new diet and how much protein we're taking and how many kilos we're lifting in the gym and all these kind of talks, Prabhupada's saying this is not the subject matter. This is not the subject matter of any talk. The body is not the subject matter. And then he gives the example of cloth. What does he say about the cloth? Thank you, Gopinath. Yeah, so this cloth has no value. This we could, and you can write. He says you can write books and books and books. Where did I buy it from? Where is it manufactured? This, that, everything. But all these rascal philosophers, all they're doing is writing about cloth. What he means is we're all writing so many books on the body. All these fiction books based on romance and love, just based on the body. But Prabhupada says this is all just rascal philosophers. Because, why? Because it doesn't give us any real benefit. There's no benefit to the soul. And then Prabhupada says this body, there's 3 transformations. Does anyone remember the 3 transformations? Ash, yeah. Ash, stool and earth. Ash, stool and earth. Because then he gives the example that when the body is dead, what do the Christians do? Bury the body. So that is the earth. So when the body is buried, the body becomes one with the earth. What do the Hindus do? Burn. So when the body is burnt, it becomes ash. And then he mentions the Parsis. What do? Throw the body, it's eaten by the vultures, and then it becomes stew. So Prabhupada says, we are so much busy about this ash, stool and earth. Just see how foolish we are. So this is it. When we're talking about the body, when we're having this conversations about the body, Prabhupada says it's not the subject matter of any talk. And the reason it's not the subject matter of any talk is because what we're talking about is ash, stool, and earth. Would we do that? Would you call up your friend and say, hey, how's it going? How's your stool? How's your ash? How's your earth? You know, we don't talk like this, but we talk about the body. And Prabhupada is saying, this is what's going to happen to the body. So this is how foolish we are. This is how foolish we are. So Prabhupada says, if we don't take care of the driver, simply you wash the car, what's the use? We said this. So what is civilization based on? Now, it's based on how we can enjoy. I was reading the other day that there's a big, huge problem coming this Christmas. And it's not just the energy bills. The huge problem everyone is worried about is that the turkeys have got bird flu. And because there's 1 million turkeys that are caught bird flu, everyone is worried, how will they celebrate Christmas without eating turkey? And it's a big thing. The farmers are going out of business because of this bird flu. People are thinking, how will I celebrate my Christmas time without eating these turkeys? And this is the problem. And this is becoming a national problem. This is becoming a national problem. Where are we going to get our turkey to enjoy our Christmas? So this is now, because it's become the national problem, this is now what we call civilization. This is what is civilization at the moment. We're going to stop worrying about whether there's enough turkey for Christmas. So, and then we could just go back to the end of the verse, which we end of the lecture, which is what we started with, which is Prabhupada again speaking about, I have my strong body, I have my nice children, my wife. They are my soldiers. I'm thinking they are the ones who are going to save me. And Prabhupada then gives the example of a bird. And it says, the bird is flying with the family in the sky. But if there's some danger, no other bird can help him. And then he gives the example of aeroplanes. Aeroplanes are flying. If there's a danger to one aeroplane, the other aeroplanes cannot help that aeroplane. So Prabhupada is giving us these analogies, these examples. Why? Because we are living our life, and we hear that phrase often, we need to fly our own plane. In spiritual life, we've got to fly our own plane. And what does that mean? We've got to take responsibility for our spiritual life. We've got to take responsibility so that when death comes, we are not depending on the temporary. And Prabhupada is making this really clear that if we're going to depend on the temporary, how can we expect something permanent? And what we want is something permanent, which is eternal life with Krishna. So Prabhupada says, so I'm thinking that they will give me all protection. But that's not, we know that's not what's going to give us protection. So there's just a run through of the lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave. Would anyone like to share their reflections and their thoughts on what they found inspiring from the lecture? Yes, Mataji?
Actually, it's you, Prabhu, that inspired me. I was thinking that actually Prabhupada in this lecture he said something really, really definitive at the very end, especially, and at the beginning. He says, "Death will come. You think God is dead, but no, you will be dead. Death will come and He will kill you." And I see this because I'm a filmmaker, and I've been pondering, how am I supposed to make a film to teach the world about Krishna? And that question kind of got answered a little bit today, because you see all these popular TV shows or, especially epic films like Lord of the Rings, for example. The narrative is generally, yes, we're atheists. People don't believe in God anymore. God is dead, right? That's the premise. That's where it begins. And then people kind of go through this tribulation and somebody inspires them, like a guru comes, right? And then they kind of go through a battle of like, oh, God is like this, or, but they don't really have any conclusion as to, like what the Prabhupada is making, which is that we're not this body. So it's like that missing element in all these stories that people hear right now, that doesn't make you very satisfied at the end, because it's always like, oh, your family, you come back to your family. So I think that I just want to say that perhaps it's worth doing a comparative study between the Mahabharata stories, or the stories that Prabhupada uses with popular narratives, and then try to write something that's similar. If there's anybody online or here who's who's interested in this subject matter, please come and speak to me.
Okay. Thank you very much. We
Love
look
some
forward to
help.
watching the movie.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to share what inspired them in hearing Prabhupada's lecture? Cyrus?
Yeah, Prabhu, I just realized as you were facilitating that it comes to mind again. From time to time it does, but especially now. Everything is an illusion.
Everything is?
An
illusion, yeah.
And our lives, the whole world is an illusion, which is quite phenomenal actually, because we take it so seriously. What Prabhupada is making a point here, hanging over here, you're on the bodily concept, it's an illusion. Yeah, that's definitive.
Thank you. Don't take the illusion seriously. Very nice. Thank you. Anyone else like to share something? Something they reflected on, something that inspired them, something that Prabhupada said that they'll go away with today and churn it, teach it. Gopinath?
It's just a point that's been reaffirmed to me. But yesterday I was speaking to somebody in the reception. I was sitting at the book table. Someone came up to me and they were talking about how they've been coming on and off to the temple for 20 or so years, and they haven't managed to maintain or really get into any serious practice. They've read a lot of the books, but nothing's gone through. Nothing's
I can resonate.
They're eating meat. They're sincere, I think. But Prabhupada makes this point, and you also touched on it again, about surrendering and how things only go through to us when we surrender to the Guru, to the books, to the things that we're reading. And otherwise, it's just it has no benefit unless we surrender. Then we are able to receive the knowledge. And I didn't say that to him yesterday, but if I see him again, I will. So
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just nice.
Yeah, thank you, Gopinath. Yeah, so we can remember that if we surrender, then we can accept the knowledge, and it's a good reminder. What you said is a good reminder that if we're coming to the temple, and we're not taking things as seriously as we could be, even if we've been coming for many years, then if we take to the knowledge seriously and surrender to it, we'll be able to make quicker advancement. So thank you. It's a good lesson for me. Roman, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the facilitation. I just have a bit of a technical question for my understanding. It's just kind of related to the class. So the way I understood it, our personality traits come basically from the soul, right? That's where the personality comes from. Now I've experienced myself that in a family which, like, blood-related family, but it was like an adoptive family. So actually those family members, they never met themselves for like 40, 50 years. But then once they met them themselves, they figured out they have a lot of similar personality traits. So I was just wondering, does the personality solely come from the soul, or is it also somewhere stored in a subtle body? Or how can we understand that?
I mean, there's two parts for this. One is, for me, which is naturally the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego travel from life to life. So naturally, whatever is stored in our mind and our intelligence and our false ego, and basically all the impressions we've had, that does travel from body to body. And the second thing I was going to say is, I think this is a Cyrus Prabhu question more than me. Maybe you can share some on this, Cyrus, because I think you're quite in tune with these things. He's bringing the mic.
Maybe what I can say about this is, so there are three components. So we have the physical body, we have this subtle body, and we have the spiritual aspect, which is the soul. So three things. The soul is unchanging. It's unchangeable. It doesn't change as we understand it. But certain things we experience are symptoms of the soul, because the soul reflects these things. It's to do with existence. And so we have personalities, and we are unique in that sense. But as Prabhu, as you were saying, that this intelligence, false ego, and the mind travels from one birth to another. The other thing you should bear in mind is that the baby, when the fetus is in the womb, is heavily influenced by the mind of the environment, the mind of the mother, the intelligence of the mother, what the person puts in the body, and etc. So we develop certain traits simply because of the environment we're in from the very womb. From being in the womb, we develop certain similarities, certain traits. And that might account for this connection with our blood relatives because of this influence from inside the womb. That's there. The other thing is, we take birth in a family with similar traits so we can live out our karma, to facilitate our karma. For example, if you have a propensity for drinking alcohol, you might be attracted to a subtle body with that kind of nature. And that's why you can see people in certain families, they have certain traits. The alcoholic, or they have this addiction in the family. It's ancestral, but this is based on karma. Your subtle body is attracted to a subtle body based on similar traits to facilitate the karma.
Very nice. Does that answer your question, Roman Prabhu?
I hope that helps.
Thank you, Cyrus Prabhu. Very informative. Yeah, it's a really nice point how when one is in the womb, when the baby's in the womb, then they're taking on the consciousness and the environment of the mother. So even if then two children get separated for many years and come back, why have they got similar traits? Because of what they picked up in the womb would be similar from the same mother. Amazing. Thank you. Jay, anyone else like to share anything? Yes, Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Just on reflection of what the lecture was about, I came to Krishna consciousness in July, so I'm fairly new. And people around you, after sort of a few months, start seeing the changes in you.
Mm.
And they're always asking, why do you look so happy? What did you eat for breakfast today? And when you're trying to share with them, I meditate in the morning, and because I'm still young, I feel, in Krishna consciousness, I think, well, how do I open that conversation? How do I open that? And I think the analogy that Srila Prabhupada uses about the driver and the car, because people who are not aware are very attached to me and my body. So I think it's a good opening conversation, a good analogy that Srila Prabhupada has given us. And another thing, Prabhu, I watched a talk that you did, I think it may have been in September, and you located a verse for me that I had a realization about. And I think you're the same Prabhu, because I think you're an accountant and you're a Liverpool fan. Have I got the right Prabhu?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was paying attention. It was chapter 5, verse 18. And you talked about, forgive me everybody if I've got this wrong, that you see a soul in everything, you're equal. And in 2020 in lockdown, I live in a very cold climate, I live in the Lake District, and it was unusually warm that March. And going out for a walk, and I didn't know about Krishna consciousness then. And I realized that what was in the tree, the same energy was in me, or in the bird, or the flower. And I just want to say thank you for that talk that you did, because you helped me locate that voice and that realization.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, thank you for your kind words and your reflection. And it's nice you want to quote Prabhupada's analogies, because actually, and I think this is what the devotees who are going out on book distribution are really fired up about, is that when we give out the books, or when we repeat what Srila Prabhupada says, that's where actually the spiritual potency is. So, like you said, when you meet your family, you want to share Prabhupada's analogy, and all the devotees who are going out on books, they want to share Prabhupada's teachings, because that's where the purity is. And if we can be instruments of giving Srila Prabhupada's purity to the world, then that's us being utilized in the right way by the Lord. So, thank you, Mataji. Thank you, everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.